Inspired by kingdom principles that work for
you. Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Good Eat. I am your host, Oscar Stuart, and I thank you very much for being here today. Today on Good Eat, I have a very interesting show with a very special guest. First and foremost, I'd like to say with the Thanksgiving holiday just being over, I'm sure many people have had the opportunity to indulge themselves in a good meal and desserts over this holiday weekend and give thanks to God above for all the provisions that has been provided. We know that some may have probably had more than others, but nonetheless, we give thanks. And one of the things I'd like to touch on again that most people may be tired hearing, but we're going to speak just briefly once again, mentioning the coronavirus. And with this virus, once again, it is affecting every single person worldwide in one way or the other. So I'm not going to really touch bases too much on the virus itself, but one of the factors that's taking place due to this virus is health, but not only from an aspect of the virus itself, but staying mobile. Due to quarantines and curfews and lockdown, many people are immobile from the way they used to and unable to exercise in the way that they would like to. And so with this virus, we're looking at the health aspect of it now from an obesity standpoint, an exercising standpoint. And so that is what we are going to discuss today. With it being said that over almost 2 billion people worldwide being obese. In America, over 36% of adults suffer from obesity. And in the Bahamas, over 31%. And so with this, people being home and eating and just sitting up, couch potato, unable to get all the necessary exercise. So our topic today, we are going to discuss obesity and staying fit and healthy in this COVID-19 era. And with that, I have decided to bring in a very special guest today. As I said, she is a doctor. She has a passion for both medicine and teaching. She has devoted her entire professional career to the advancement of young people in STEM-related disciplines, STEM being the acronym. I will let her tell you herself. Having taught at primary through tertiary education levels. She obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in biology from Howard University, Washington, D.C., and has studied in Antigua and St. Lucia, West Indies, where she obtained the degree Doctor of Medicine. She is the founder of Bright Mind STEM Learning and host of the show Full Steam Ahead. Yes, a show right here on our very own RBN network. So she's actually my RBN family sister, and I'm very delighted to have her here. She is married to D'Angelo Carey and is a homeschooling mom to her children, Jordan and Delaney, and is a lifelong advocate of learning. And so, ladies and gentlemen, everyone today, my very special guest is Dr. Joretta Carey.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Mr. O. I'm so delighted to be here.
Dr. Carey, I am so delighted as well to have you here. And first, I want to say thank you very much for your opportunity to grace us here at Good Eats. And I will crack a joke that you're probably the first person ever on the show to call me Mr. O. Right? So you might start a little fad there. Okay. So how are you doing today, Dr. Carey?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Excellent.
And you?
Uh, I am good, Dr. Carey. Thank you very much.
Great.
So today we're gonna touch this subject of obesity. It is a subject that I know many persons probably do not want to hear about. I am one of those persons that since the COVID-19 pandemic in this era who have actually, yes, put on a few pounds due to this inability to move about freely as we would like to and get the
Right.
exercise that we would like to. And so, Dr. Carey, we are going to get right into it today, if that's okay with you.
That's just okay.
So, first and foremost, I would like you to tell the viewers, everyone watching, what is obesity and how is it viewed in the Western world?
Okay, so first of all, to give a definition of obesity, and I'll also throw the word overweight in there. Okay, so
Yes,
overweight and obesity is an excessive accumulation of fat. Okay,
yes,
and once this happens, once you have this excess of fat, it poses any number of health challenges. So it's definitely something that you want to be concerned about and want to control or rather even eliminate. All right. Now, how do we actually determine if a person is overweight or obese? There is a special tool that we use called the body mass index, and it uses your height and your weight to determine what is a healthy weight range for a particular individual. So, overweight is considered once a person has a BMI or body mass index of 25, and once this number hits 30, that is considered obese. Now, in the Western world, or even particularly if we look at our own country, like you said, that word obese tends to be a bit taboo, right? We use words like solid or, you look healthy, that type of thing. But you would find that this excess of fat in actually is detrimental to our health. So that's what we want to look at today.
yes, that is very true, and interesting that you use the terminology of healthy, or they'll say chunky or thick. So most persons don't want to chalk up their size, so to speak, as look at it as they're obese or overweight or maybe need to take control of their eating habits. So, with
Right.
that said, Dr. Carey, tell us some of the contributing factors in obesity in children and adults.
Okay. Again, we want to make it relevant, particularly to our region. And you would find, I don't know if you recall, just last year, our former Minister of Health, Dr. Dwayne Sands, he reported that almost 80% of Bahamians are overweight.
Yes.
And this is really based on the type of lifestyle we live. We love to eat good, we like rich foods. If you look at the typical Bahamian Sunday meal, it consists of three meats and about five starches, right? You have your macaroni, potato salad, peas and rice, coleslaw. Yeah, you throw that in there for a little bit of color. but then you have corn and everything else is on the plate is brown because you deep fried it all. Okay?
Yeah.
So one of the main contributors I can definitely say is our lifestyle in terms of the types of food that we gravitate towards too. On the other hand, we also tend to live very sedentary lifestyles, like you mentioned earlier. Children are more absorbed into technological devices. And of course, I definitely encourage that. But there has to be that balance. Instead of just being in front of the PS4 watching Netflix or engaged with other tech devices, children need to be outside and experience playing hopscotch, jumping rope, running up and down. Any type of physical activity is good. When we look at even the adults, we ride to work, take the elevator instead of the stairs, and sit to the desk all day. So it's really ingrained in the lifestyle choices that we make.
Dr. Carey, it's interesting that you mentioned that because, as you said, over 80% of Bahamians, it is said, suffer from obesity. And with that number, it is said that over 31% of adults. So it tells us the serious situation that our children are in, suffering from obesity. And like you said, in this technological era, kids are not as active outdoors. Probably we were when we grew up with no internet and no laptops and such. And so they sit down home more inside. They don't could be outside, run about anymore. So it is a serious situation because looking at a survey and speaking about reference to this region, it is also said that we here in the Bahamas have the highest obesity rate in this region, in the Caribbean. So as you would mention, the average Bahamian, yes, they like to eat good, but what are they doing in terms of exercise? We know it's being a fad now. So tell us, as a result of all of this, Dr. Carey, what are some of the complications and health challenges that arise as a result of obesity?
Right. So just to reinforce your point, in 2016, there was a report, and the results of that report is that the Bahamas has the highest overweight rate in the entire Caribbean and Latin America. And that report was published by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in conjunction with PAHO. So we definitely find ourselves in the midst of a dilemma. So going back to the Bahamas in particular, there is a very high stress on the health system, and a lot of the burden could have really been avoided or at least alleviated, because there are in excess of 100,000 Bahamians that are actually patients having diabetes mellitus, which we also refer to as sugar, or who are pre-diabetic. Okay, and of course there are two types of diabetes, but when we talk about the type 2 diabetes mellitus, that is usually as a result of lifestyle. And so, as far as taking charge of our health, that is something that we are able to do and something that can be prevented. Okay, same thing with hypertension or high blood pressure. These are the conditions that really stress out the healthcare system in terms of resources, in terms of finances. Some other health conditions associated with obesity would include heart disease, cancer such as breast and colon cancer. Then you also have the sleep disorders and also the respiratory disorders. Like you mentioned coronavirus earlier. There are persons, because of their health, who are more likely to fall victim to the virus. And persons who are obese are definitely candidates for that type of thing. So there are lots of various comorbidities or associated diseases and conditions that are as a result of being obese.
Yeah, okay, Dr. Carey, this is, as you mentioned, a grave dilemma
Yes.
for the country. Please tell us your opinion as a professional medical doctor. What can be done to prevent this continuing trend? How can we get Bahamians to take this issue more serious and be more health cognizant?
Well, like any dilemma or any problem that we are facing, the best way to tackle that is to have a cumulative effort. It really takes a community in order to make a dent in a situation such as this. And so it takes the effort of course, our government, yes, that's the easy cop out. But it begins at the home. So it takes our families, first of all, it takes our communities, including the school, churches, and other organizations, to bring awareness and to bring practical solutions to this type of thing. So getting back to the first thing I mentioned, the government, there needs to be more PSAs or public service announcements out there reinforcing the fact that obesity is detrimental and shedding more light on the various complications that are accompanying obesity. Within our homes, getting back to the family, it is one thing for us to say, well, hey, kids don't eat this or don't eat that, but we have to first of all set an example. Like Bahamians, you would notice, especially when the boats are running, right? There's a whole pallet coming in of processed food, snacks, sodas, drinks, pure preservatives. And really and truly, when you have that accumulation of your sugar, salts, and fats, that is where the obesity comes in, because essentially we're dealing with consuming more calories that are being burnt. Also, when it comes down to the physical exercise, we have to set the pace and perhaps implement exercising as a family, not just going to the beach to grill and eat more food, but incorporate a game or two of volleyball or something else, you know? That would be a good start.
Yes. To touch on a few points there, Dr. Carey, one being as it relates to the children in the home.
Yes.
Most parents, and we know it's difficult to get kids to eat healthy, but I guess we can start little by little, because most persons, like you say, we have to lead by example.
Yes.
Most persons, adults, will eat French fries before they eat a salad. They will drink a soda before they drink water. And so it's difficult to tell the children that they must eat all the vegetables on the plate. We want them to emulate us, and then parents be like, eat your vegetables or else. But then we have a tendency to do what we want to do, and so it makes it difficult to get the children to follow suit, even particularly as an exercise. And like you said, most parents, we can incorporate it as a family outing together to go walking or to go jogging.
Yeah,
but
it has
more
to become part of the lifestyle.
yeah, and more importantly, I do believe that the government has agenda an issue or to a duty rather to be more proactive in helping persons and maintain a more healthy lifestyle, because the strain rests on the health system, the healthcare system.
Exactly.
Financially, it's a burden to doctors and nurses and to the country as a whole, because now we are getting so many sick people. You mentioned breast cancers and stuff, and it's being said by many persons that they are of the belief firmly that it is due in cause to the diet and being obese that all these ailments come about. So, with that said, Dr. Carey, in addition to that, treatment. What are the best treatments for this ailment of obesity? You mentioned exercising, being proactive as a family, but what I mean, it's difficult to say to persons and showing them the severity of this, but what can really be done to the nation as a whole to take it more seriously, in your opinion?
Okay. So I'll start off by saying that prevention is definitely better than cure. And
Always.
again, I will reinforce the word lifestyle. So maintaining or even beginning, because some persons already may find themselves in a spiral in terms of weight control. Okay. But it all boils down to the choices. The choices. And yes, sometimes there is a genetic component to a person being overweight.
Yeah.
However, even when we consider that, there are still certain measures that can be put in place, and it's a pretty simple formulation. Good Eats, that's the name of your show, right?
Yes.
If we all purpose that, look, we're going to make better decisions when it comes to what we put on our plate. That's a great start. And it has to be a lifestyle. It can't be something whereby you just go on some fad diet. Oh, my birthday is coming up. I need to fit into this dress. No, you have to make it a lifestyle of the proper diet, good eats, as well as getting in that physical activity. So, in terms of the various stakeholders, all of us as a nation have a role to play in this. We already mentioned the fact that the government, they can start with, of course, the public service announcement.
Yeah.
But I am further reminded of what has gone on lately with the project at the Southern Recreation Ground. It was very beautiful. Did you see it?
No, I did not have an opportunity to.
Okay, well, that's a park in Nassau, and they installed exercise equipment at the park. So I think that is something that would encourage persons. We have a whole lot of parks all over the Bahamas, and if we can incorporate more equipment to encourage physical activity, I think that's a good way that we can start as a nation. In our various community groups, whether it be the church, whether it be at school, we can encourage more physical activity. At school, PE doesn't have to just be restricted to running around the track and doing field related activity. Children are interested in karate, they're interested in swimming. You have ballet, dance. The point is to get moving. And once you make a start, that will be interpreted into a habit. So I would recommend starting off with 30 minutes of planned physical activity, because that's what exercise is. Planned physical activity at least 3 times a week. and then grow from there. So we like to socialize for any number of reasons, and getting healthy together is something that you can embrace in whatever circle you are a part of. The government has also been encouraging persons to get involved in backyard farming initiatives. And we are so blessed in the Bahamas where we have tons of land. Don't just use these properties to have well manicured land and a bunch of flower gardens, you know?
Yeah.
Plant fruits, plant vegetables, and let's all live a healthier lifestyle together. You can
Ex-
also have your community gardens, you know?
yeah.
Also, for those who may face some challenges, there can be vouchers given out, whether it's by the government or other civic organizations that are specific for fruits and vegetables. In the schools, the sugary drinks, the processed drinks can be eliminated from the tuck shop. Just supply water and fruit juice.
Yes.
You know,
And,
we have to watch our portion sizes as well. Like I said earlier, you know, the instructions are right there on the packages, but we avoid it, right?
yeah.
Feel thirsty, we go into the gas station, get a bottle of juice that is like, say, 16, 20 ounces, and we drink it down. I am guilty of that too. But a serving size of juice is really 8 ounces. So we're consuming 2 to 2.5 times what we should really be drinking.
Very interesting, Dr. Carey. I like the fact that you mentioned backyard gardening. Of course, you know that because most people
Yes.
think that this show here is just about farming, gardening, and eating good, hence the title. But I aim to promote healthy lifestyle, beginning through a transformation of the mind. And
Yes.
so, as you mentioned, the choices, even for those who have a genetic issue, hereditary as it relates to obesity, we can change our mindset and make the choices to have a healthier lifestyle and not just, hey, everybody else in my family was big boned. So I big boned, I'm going to keep the trend going. No, because it is a hazard, a serious health risk. Dr. Carey, I don't know why I feel as if we just started this conversation 5 minutes ago.
I know, right?
But the information is vital. It is knowledgeable. It is helpful. So this is something that most persons have to take serious, particularly us here in the Bahamas, as you mentioned, having the highest rate of obesity in the region, in the Caribbean, and Latin America by extension. So
Yeah.
it says here to me either one of two things, that maybe this country is richer than we believe we are, or we have poor healthy eating habits and the choices in lifestyle that we make. Because if we can have an obesity rate of over 80%, then uh, it, obviously people ain't starving like they say they are. Let's be
Okay.
honest about it. And because as you said, you can still go to the average Bahamian house and you can find a big Sunday dinner with
Without
the
fail.
five starches and the two and three meats, and they eat maybe 2 3 times that day on Sunday, all plates being the same size, all
Yes.
portions being the same amount of full plate. And so before I let you go, Dr. Carey, uh, back in the day, as you mentioned, backyard farming, particularly here in this region and what we call the family of islands here in the Bahamas, on the island, the older persons did not have access to so much types of medicine, or can go the availability to the doctor every time they blow their nose or they get a little cough. So Now, when we talk about alternative to healthy lifestyle, a few weeks back, I had a guest on my show, Mr. Fenric Russell, the Bush Tea Man. And so I want to say that these teas, the leaves of the trees are the healing of the nation. Many of these teas, as Mr. Russell was on the show, he brought some of his teas, Anoni tea, buttonwood, five finger, and the fever grass. And so these teas and these bush medicine, as we put it, alternative medicine, they have so much health benefits to them, particularly for ailments as heart disease, high cholesterol, hypertension. So, do you, as a doctor, ever recommend to some of your patients this type of more alternative lifestyle for medicine?
Well, definitely. And I mean, even considering the fact that bush medicines are a large part of our culture, you would
Yes.
have persons who would prefer this type of medicine.
Yeah. I,
Okay,
I, I
now,
honestly believe in the holistic type medicine and alternative as much as possible. But Dr. Carey, what I haven't even begun to scratch the surface on the things I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted you to mention your STEM thing because initially I wanted you to speak to something scientific more on the field. But
next
we
time.
came to this medicine, and this is truly a timely subject because, as we said, Thanksgiving is just over. Sure to eat big. Christmas is around the corner. New Year's is around the corner, and so we want to encourage people to, if you're gonna enjoy those moods, like you said, try eat in portions, smaller portions, and spread it out in between. Dr. Carey, our time is up, but I'm gonna have to try get you and invite my RBN sister to come back again because I still want you to speak a little bit more on this and the science of some perspective from an agricultural standpoint. Would that be okay with you?
Most definitely.
Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Carey. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Joretta Carey, my RBN sister, the medical doctor, Dr. Joe, as I call her. Thank you very much. I do truly, truly delighted and appreciated to have you here today.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a short break and be right back to wrap up the show. Before cannot leave with the what's in my cup segment. So be right back in a flash. Okay, now ladies and gentlemen, we back to that segment. What's in my cup? So, as I would have mentioned to my guest, Dr. Carey, today, we spoke about my week 7 episode with Mr. Fenric Russell, Mr. Excitement, Mr. Bush T. If you didn't have a chance to watch that episode, go ahead because what's in my cup today is one of Mr. Excitement teas. So, for you to could effectively guess what's in my cup today, go back to episode 7 of the Bush Tea Show and the teas that Fenric had on the show and see if you can guess what's in this cup today. And you will win a prize, as you know. So, same scenario. You go to the YouTube, right here where you watch the show, leave your comments in there at the YouTube channel, and later on down, if you guess correctly, your name will be mentioned on the show. You will win a prize, and that will be sent out to our Facebook page, Instagram page. So, thank you once again, everyone, for tuning in. We know the time was short. It's so much good information. And don't feel bad about this obesity topic. Let's recondition our mindset and become a more healthy people, a more healthy Bahamas. Thank you, everyone. God bless. Hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving, and see you again next week.